Casablanca Records and Tapes.
Wanna rock and roll all night and party every day. Black Diamond!
Kiss Alive, specially priced 2-record set with 8-page color poster book on Casablanca Records and Tapes. Kiss Alive!
You've waited 2 years to hear it. Kiss Alive 2. The most spectacular live performances in the history of rock and roll. Kiss Alive 2. A special 2-record set with 5 all-new songs, a full-color Kiss history book, and a Kiss surprise. Kiss Alive 2 from Casablanca Record and Filmworks.
Welcome back. I'm Pat, that Halloween movie collector, and I'm back for probably what's going to be my last Kiss albums ranking for a while. I already did the 70s studio albums, I did the 80s studio albums, then the 90s, 2000s studio albums, the soul albums last week. Go check that out. That's the latest review. Throw a link up here. So here we are, ranking the Kiss live albums. Now these are strictly just the official live albums, no bootlegs, and none of the off the soundboards yet, because they're still coming out, and that's something I'll do when they officially say they're done putting them out. So here we go. There are 8 official live albums. Let's start with number 8. Released on June 25th, 1996. You wanted the best, you got the best. This was cool. There was a lot of hype because the Kiss reunion tour was ramping up, and it was getting it to be in full force. See, June, I saw them in July on the reunion tour, 2 nights at Madison Square Garden. So yeah, it was right before that. So this was basically it's a rehash of some songs from Alive 2 with a couple other deep cuts mixed in just to get everybody all revved up for the reunion tour. It also did feature a cut or two from the original Alive album, and also some deep cuts like Let Me Know, Room Service, Two Timer, some favorite songs of mine from the earlier Kiss studio albums, and Take Me, which was actually recorded during the original Alive 2 sessions, but was cut. Actually, there was those Kiss album collectors out there. There is a misprint out there of Alive 2, which every Kiss fan that collects or hardcore fan knows, that they printed a bunch of Alive 2 albums with Take Me and Hooligan on them, and they weren't nowhere to be found on the LPs. They had to cut them. So that's my number 8. Number 7, released on August 26, 2016, Kiss Rocks Vegas. Now, this was pretty cool. I remember getting the pay-per-view and watching it on there. And, of course, this is the version of Kiss, which we basically had for 20 years now with Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer, which I don't mind. There's a whole debate about that. They're doing fine. For me, I can live with it. Yeah, it would have been cool to have them in different makeup, sort of like Eric Carr and Vinnie Vincent were. But you know what? At this point, I've enjoyed it all these years. To me, it's not a big deal. Recorded live in Las Vegas. It's got a lot of great tunes on there, some classics, some new stuff. I mean, this version of Kiss would always play some stuff from the 80s era. So it's got a lot of, it's a great mix of all eras, and not a bad listen to. And not a bad video either. Released on July 22nd, 2003, Kiss Symphony. Now this, when I heard about this, there was a whole thing with like bands doing symphonies back in the day. And true to form, Kiss had to, jump on that bandwagon and do it too. And they did it in Australia. And it was an odd combination of Gene, Paul, Tommy Thayer, and Peter Criss. Strange, right? There was a couple different versions where you had Peter Criss and you didn't have Ace, and then you had Ace, you didn't have Peter Criss. There was a whole mishmash right before the rails came off and both Ace and Peter were gone. But this was, albeit it was a cool concept. It's got some, it's a fun listen to. I put it a little bit higher than some of the other ones because there are some cool versions of songs on there. And it was nice how they did a version of, like, they played a couple of tunes live and then they went into the symphony stuff. And it's interesting to listen to. And there it is. Lands at number 6. Number 5, released on May 18th, 1993. Alive 3. Yes, the long-awaited Alive 3. And this was sort of a filler because you can remember the early 90s, up until the reunion tour, Kiss were really waning in popularity. Revenge was a great album, but it was a little too late at that point. Music started to change. They were recording a grunge album when they released Carnival of Souls. It was just a weird time. So they put this out, and it's a great concert. It really is. You got the lineup with Gene Paul, Eric Singer, and Bruce Kulick. Some great classics on there, some 80s era stuff that's real good, and some good versions of the Revenge era material. And it's not a bad listen to. So that's why it's sitting at number 5. Number 4, released on November 21st, 2006, Kiss the Millennium Concert. Now, this was supposed to actually be Kiss Alive 4, but it never was. Recorded up in Vancouver, British Columbia. And was the original lineup. And it's a great listen to because you got all 4 original members. At this point, the rails were coming on and off, and some great classics on here. The sound quality is really, really good, and for me, it's just it builds right off of the classic Alive albums. It's like the perfect entry in there. So I wish it really would have just called it Alive 4. It would have been better. Number 3, released on March 12th, 1996. Now, this is what kicked it all off. Kiss Unplugged. Now, this is what basically is the reality of what you have now. Kiss did an Unplugged, and it was just right after they did their official conventions, and they had Ace at one point. They had Peter come up and sing at one point, and they started talking and saying, this might be the right time to do this because Unplugged exploded. I remember sitting there watching that. I couldn't wait to watch it. And I had goosebumps because I loved Kiss. I never got to see the original Kiss together because at that time, my parents would not take me. I didn't see them until the early 80s. And it wasn't the original band anymore. So couldn't believe it. And of course, there was no way around it. They knew they had to do a reunion tour, and it exploded. I mean, all you Kiss fans know what 1996 was like. 96 and 97 was just like a Kiss's dream come true. I mean, as a collector back then, I was still collecting tons of Kiss merchandise. The Kiss shows were unbelievable. So this was basically what kicked it off. And on it, great versions. I mean, of course, you had the majority of it is Gene Paul, Eric Singer, and Bruce Kulick. But doing some classic tunes and acoustic was just great. And then having Ace come out. Albeit he did 2000, man. It would have been nice if he did like Shock Me or even like anything. He could have just pulled out. But it's a great version of it, but it's not really an Ace song. It's actually a cover of a Stone song. And, of course, Peter came out, did Beth, and then they all brought everybody out, and they did Nothing to Lose, and Rock and Roll Night. Just great stuff. I listen to it a lot. To this day, I'll still throw it in there and just listen to it because it's just a great listen to. Number 2, October 14th, 1977, Alive 2. Now, this album, this is uber nostalgia for me. I remember getting this in 77 and getting the tattoos. I put the tattoos on and just loving the Evolution of Kiss booklet that it came with and loving side 4 to this day. If granted, there's only one song on there that's really all 4 of them, but I just love the songs on Live 4. All American Man, Rocket Ride, Any Way You Want It. Side 4 is just top notch. And of course, the contra is good. Albeit the mix for me is a little, I always thought it was a little tinny. I mean, albeit it's Eddie Kramer, but the mix between the version of Alive and then a mix of Alive 2, the mix in Alive was a lot better. But I love it. Everything in that album, front to back, is just top notch for me. And of course, number 1, September 10th, 1975, Kiss Alive. This was the album that got me into Kiss. Told the story on one of the other videos. I forget which one it was. Go check out the other Kiss content on here. But my brother is 6 years older than me. 1975, comes home from school with an Alive album that he had borrowed from one of his friends at school. And I saw it sitting there, and I was like, what is that? And he's like, I borrowed it from whoever his friend was at the time. Don't touch it. Sure, no problem. Didn't touch it. He goes out. I take it. Go listen to it. And here we are, we figure, what, 48 years later? And I'm just, it's still to this day my favorite band, my favorite Kiss album. It's just front to back. And of course, everybody can argue it's not completely live because there was a lot of overdubbing and stuff like that. He polished it up. Yeah, I get it. But still, for a kid my age at that time who was never able to go to a Kiss concert, this was me going to a Kiss concert. I could just put that on. Same thing. It came with a booklet with great photos in it. It had the gatefold. You open it up with the different letters that each member wrote. And I just would read that, look at the back, the concert picture, and you'd just be like, wow, God, I'd give anything to be at that goddamn concert. So I would put it on, and I would feel like I was at that concert. So, and to this day, I still do. I've probably seen Kiss 30 some odd times. But I still can put that on, and I'm that little kid again, sitting in my bedroom, listening to it and looking at the photos and everything, and taking me to that classic Kiss concert. So that is my number one. And there you have it. Do me a favor. Let me know your ranking of the Kiss live albums. Comment down below. Love to hear it. Maybe different from mine. That's cool. Maybe it's the same as mine, which would be awesome. Make sure you like this video. Helps people find the channel. If you're a Kiss fan, there's a lot of Kiss content on here. Kiss, I'm a big, obviously, Halloween guy and horror guy. But there's Kiss and horror go hand in hand, and there's plenty of content on here to keep everybody busy between comedies and horror and Kiss and different music and this and that, just tons of shit. So make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you come back, check out some more of the content. I got a lot of cool shit coming. So until then, I'll talk to you soon.